Hello, everybody. It's me. Happy New Year. I'm back, and I wanted to wish you all a happy 2024. I'm going to try and be as quick as possible with this video because I have such limited time today, but I had to come on here and I had to wish you a happy New Year on New Year's Day. I'm going to do my best to get this video up tonight so that it'll be on time, unlike me all the time. Not sure exactly why in the last video I giggled the whole time, but usually I'm pretty lighthearted, and I like to keep things honest. So thank you so much for joining me, and again, Happy New Year. I wrote a little list of things that I wanted to talk about, and of course, because the way I am in my everyday life, I decided that some of the things I don't want to cover, so I'm not going to. My desk is completely filled, and I was going through totes and I was going through my inventory, both personal collection and also things that I desire to sell. And I didn't want to put all these away and not share them with you. So this is some sort of a educational, but also the classic Jason show and tell. The first thing sitting in front of me is an amazing art pottery vessel that I purchased. And it's incredible in its form and its approach and its purity in basically the way it was constructed. I do have a very strong intuition when I see things that don't belong or are out of place. And this was seated on the floor of an antique mall. Purchased it about 2 weeks ago. I didn't clean it up yet, but it was on the floor at my house because I didn't put it away yet. And I just wanted to show you before I do put it away or before I do price it and sell it. But there's something about the form and the glaze that is a very advanced hand. I would suspect this to be from the late 60s or the early 70s. It is hand thrown, so all the rings that you see on the outside, those are the rings of an artist raising this up off of the wheel. Again, very, to me, Japanese in style, and in form and in presentation. And then they created this bulbous, voluminous form, and then apparently, punched it with their hand or altered it with their hand to give it this indented surface that then the glaze that went over the surface settled into that recess and created an amazing form, and just really fantastic in its naturalistic everything, the glaze and the form. Bottom, not signed. And I guess when you see things like this, it will take some time for me to authenticate this, but I had a very strong intuition as to who it could be. So I'm going to set that out of the way. Sorry to vanish for a second, but the desk is too full to keep that on here. I was questioned about some of my own metalsmithing and my own jewelry, and there were 3 pieces that were hanging in my house that I took down because I am in the process of a fairly major downsize. And I'll get into that in a later video. Too long of a conversation to have here on New Year's Day. So, 3 things that I created. And again, some of my jewelry at times got crafty. It got not about the concept of what was being created, but about just a wearable, fashionable, fun piece. And I used a lot of found objects and vintage elements in my creations because I was constantly at the thrift store. When I first started this and I was very young, I was working at a veterinary clinic, and right down the street was a thrift store that I frequented twice a day. I would go in the morning to see what they had put out the night before, and I would go halfway through the day to see what they were putting out for that evening. So I would come out with constant treasures at that time. And I remember one day I didn't want to go because I just wasn't feeling it, but I forced myself to go. And I don't recommend forcing yourself to do anything in life, but I'm glad I did. I found a platinum and diamond ring, very small, narrow, band ring. And it was a quarter. It was in a plastic bag and stapled in a plastic bag and put onto the wall by the checkout, and like point of purchase, kind of things that were more inexpensive. So the stories of my thrifting, I'll get into that definitely this year as well, because I know a lot of you are asking for more stories and more information from me, and I'm so glad that you are. And I want to thank each and every subscriber. I want to remind you, please like and subscribe, because so many of my viewers are not necessarily subscribed to my channel. So just go up to the top and there's a little bell off to the, I think it's the right-hand side from memory. Just go ahead and click on that bell, and it will give you notifications when I post a video, which apparently my last video was 2 weeks ago as of today. So I don't do too many, so you won't be bombarded. And if you don't want the bell, just at least subscribe and support my channel. And please share me out to any of your friends that are into vintage, or a crazy artist, or an auction advisor, because I would love to have them aboard. And the constant support is so appreciated. This was a sterling silver bracelet that I created, and then vintage Moonglow lucite, and then craft leaves. These plastic leaves were basically used for craft at the time, probably right around the late 1950s, early 1960s for the vintage on that. And I'll take my bracelet off so I can show you. Very wearable, very fun, inspired by fashion, Carmen Miranda, very fun, very good colors, and beautifully constructed because I soldered everything together. And as a metalsmith, I had a slight advantage when it came to craft on items. So that was one of them. And I'll set that off to this side so I can get it out of my way. And then this one, gigantic. And I was known for these gigantic creations, very oversized, almost on the verge of unwearable. And these strawberries are cast resin. I think I would consider them in the acrylic family. They're definitely not lucite. And then also the craft leaves again. So I put leaves on top of all the strawberries, and then I soldered the sterling silver bracelet portion together. But look how gigantic it is. And when it was on, it's just massive, But how much fun and how cool is that? And a very summertime kind of creation. So I would wear that with like jean shorts and sandals back in the day. And I was known for probably some of the most questionable fashion decisions any humans ever made. And now those are, in vogue, so people that are different are in vogue now. But in the 1990s, it was not in vogue at all. But I never thought about it. I just did what felt right. Like I do today. I did what felt correct to me. But anyways, so fantastic and awesome. And they kind of have an opalescent quality to them, but massive and fun and whimsical. That was the second one. And then the third one, staying in that same vein and in that same oversized, has to be large and in charge, has to make a statement. And, this is like statement necklaces before there were statement necklaces. And this one, it was made out of cut crystal chandelier prisms, and really fantastic faceting on the crystals, and just a beautiful, beautiful end result that didn't read as chandelier crystals. And when it was on, it was this remarkable large and beautiful, and the sound that it made, everything about it. So I soldered together all the sterling silver jump rings so that it would stay together. And I did this one probably right around, I would say 1999. It might have been 98, 99 from my memory. So, 25 years old, and here I am today, and it's still wearable and fashionable and fun. So almost a classic or timeless creation. And then, of course, my hooks. I never bought commercial findings because as a metalsmith, I felt it important to control the whole thing, to control from start to finish every facet, no pun intended, every facet of my creations. So there's that, and I just wanted to bring that on and share and show you that. And there's my, I guess I show that because I want to continue to show my art and share my art with you, and both in jewelry and photography. So I also painted and did small sculptures, but that was more a secondary thing for me. If I needed to make something like that, I would just make it, and get it over with. And on to some more of the vintage pieces that I wanted to show for show and tell. This, as I reach around my faithful companion, who I'll get to in just one second. This is, again, an incredible form, and it's art pottery. And again, do I know if it's from the late 1930s or the 50s or the 60s? I lean more towards the 50s and the 60s, of course, but there's something about the bottom that says that it could be slightly earlier. So I am doing additional research, but again, think about how this was put together. So an artist completely hand constructed these tubular but squared off tubular forms and then adhered them all together, okay? And very sizable, but look at its end result. Then they applied this phenomenal earthy, muddy, drippy, moody, fantastic glaze on the surface. And as I say, muddy and moody, it sounds like the title of my next book. But this honestly has such a feel of importance. The way it's finished, the hand that went into this person knew exactly what they were going for. And it's very skyscraper-esque. It has that strong Art Deco, bold graphicness, and yet it still has the elegance of a hand-constructed piece. So very machine age, but handled in a way that's much more not clumsy, refined, and artist refined. So I love it. And again, that came from an auction very recently of a longtime collector and a longtime friend of mine that has started his process of deaccessioning out of his collection, which is, again, something that I touched on that I'm actually going through right now. So if there is a little lag in between my videos and your desire to watch, please go back and watch my old videos because some of them are not being viewed as much as the current ones. So just remember that on my video tab, right up above somewhere, on the video tab, there are past videos that I was a very open book from day one. And you most certainly might find something in those that inspires you and makes you very happy. I'll put my bracelet back on before I lose it in this pile of mess. So something just fun and whimsical, McCoy Pottery Frog. Also made by the Weller Company, but this one's Brush McCoy. And the only reason why I brought him on is because although, something that's more commercial and normally not something I would buy, I love the form, I love the glaze, and it was 99 cents at a thrift store. And these still, here in Ohio, still go for around $28 to $35. So I knew that there was money to be made on that, so I bought him. And then dresser boxes and display elements for antique and vintage jewelry has always been something that, even when it wasn't popular or in vogue, I was always drawn to. Every single time I went somewhere, I would pick up decorative boxes for jewelry. This one is cut crystal, fantastic, right at the turn of the century. So could be 1910, could be 1915, definitely before the 1930s though. Completely hand faceted, and what a remarkable box when it comes to display. And it was only used for jewelry, and just beautifully done. And then in that same mindset, this one, these have become extremely popular now and are getting very expensive. So if you see these, and the old ones, not the newer ones from like the 40s and 50s, this one's turn of the century. So if you see these and the form seems a little newer, it is. It's probably from the 40s or 50s and considered loosely, and I don't necessarily agree with this term, but considered Hollywood Regency style. And I won't fight about that, but I most certainly won't agree with it. But this one is turn of the century. Most of these were European or American. There are a couple of different places that were producing them, but this one was used to house a pocket watch. So it's got this little handle to almost make it like a carriage case, so you could pick it up by the handle and carry it. And then deeply beveled glass, not rock crystal, but probably leaded crystal. And then you have this door that opens up on the front, and then here's this little tiny hook on the inside. That would have been used to house a pocket watch. So either a lady's open face watch or a gentleman's watch and a pocket watch. Beautiful construction, and look at the detail on it. Remarkable. And it's both, I believe that is zinc tin and some sort of composite paper. So zinc tin and composite paper construction, and really a beautiful little box. And I have several of those. I probably have upwards to currently probably 15 or 20 of them. And when I was buying them, they were moderately priced. They were, anywhere between $5 and $15. Sometimes maybe they were 20 or 25. And now I wouldn't sell that version. I wouldn't sell for less than 95 or 125, and I would get it. Someone would be very happy to pay that because they are getting harder to find. Now, this box was just purchased by me, and it still has the price tag on the bottom. I paid, you won't be able to see that, but I paid $6 for this box. And it's French Magelica. It is art pottery. I loved the form and the glaze that was applied to the surface, and of course, a dragonfly on the top. This extraordinarily beautiful and graceful dragonfly, and the jewel tone colors really tugged at my heartstrings when I saw it. And I was expecting it to be around, between $50 and $60. I would think that would be fair, and I probably still would have bought it, but for $6. And this was in Marietta, Ohio. And I'll get over to another video at some point and tell you where I do shop, or the places and areas that I do go to. I will tell you, I tried to do a come thrift with me or come shop with me video, and because I'm so bizarre, I had such a difficult time doing it. I need my hands free. I don't want to wear a camera on my forehead, and it just interfered. It very much so interfered with every portion of what I do. My partner, Jeremy, who's the best partner in the whole wide world, I have asked him a few times, would you consider, doing a video for me so we can publish it when I go out and shop? And yet I feel like that's inappropriate because I want to be in the moment with him and share with him. And I feel like I have such limited time with him as it is that I don't want my time with him compromised. So I will say that I regret not being able to share with you when I'm thrifting or antiquing or treasure hunting, but most certainly know that I have considered, bringing you along with me. So just know that. Art glass is a major problem with me. And this one, I was able to find, I think it was about 2.5, 3 weeks ago. Got a house call, direct buy situation, and this person has known me for a long time in the business and knew that I'm a serious consumer of certain things. This one will stay with me. It is the King Tut style swirl. So a lot of times people will call it King Tut or Tut Mania design, but it is the most exceptional vase in terms of form and color, and just beautifully constructed. On the very bottom, let me make sure I face it the right way for you. The signature is sometimes very difficult to read for some people, and unfortunately, I hope you can zoom in on that, maybe right there. I can't get it let me see if I can get it closer. Let's try that and see if you can see it. I'll tip it a couple times. But signatures are very important, and without a light box and being this far away from the camera, it's signed Eckholt, and Eckholt is, again, one of the most prolific, but also one of the most talented people that created art glass, in my opinion. Very well known for his paperweights, which I wish I could reach. There's about 5 of them right out of reach of the camera. And they're always this kind of tone. They're blues, they're iridescents, they're purples, but this one was just absolutely fantastic and made me extremely happy. It's also dated 1997, so that one was an absolute have to come home. Let me lay that down so I don't break it, because I don't want to hurt anything that I'm showing you. A few more pieces on this side, and this is quite the mess on this side. This is a remarkable and beautiful modernist and minimalist bracelet. It is by Norway Designs Plus. It's signed on the inside. Hopefully I'll be able to bring it to the light box and show you the signatures on the inside. But a beautiful and sculptural, but so minimalist bracelet that when it's on is just extraordinary, because all you see are these kind of bent and forged wires on each side of the wrist. Very, very thick stock wire. Very thick, very robust, beautifully made, and of course oxidized because I won't clean my silver. It's not going to happen. And a remarkable piece. This one, this was hanging on the wall at a thrift and very much so forgotten about. Had been there for a couple weeks, the lady told me. Couldn't believe it. So it's Chinese pottery. Some people will say that this pottery was dug out of the ground from like 500 years ago. I'll get into exactly what the pottery shards are eventually, but I'm not going to talk about that now. A great end result because it's so sizable and so large. Blue and white, classic design, but I loved the layout of the design on this one. Some of them get a little weak and a little washed out, sometimes a little flowery. I don't much so care for the figural versions either, but a sterling silver snake chain, and again, really great end result. Really fantastic. Oops. And a sterling silver dish. Again, they missed the hallmark on the bottom because it was so faintly marked that it was sterling, and I didn't pay very much. I think on this one, I may have paid $8, and just in metal alone, I think it's like $47 or $48 in silver, but sterling, beautifully constructed, and a remarkable piece for very little money. And then there was this one, and unfortunately, I'm gonna have fingerprints all over everything, but let me wipe this off really quick. And so this was sold, and I took a picture in the antique mall of the price tag on this. It was $32, and I got 10% off of $32. I didn't ask. Oh, I did ask for the discount, actually. I thought I didn't ask for the discount, but I did. So on the bottom of this, and let me wipe this off too, because silver just loves fingerprints. It just loves it. And it's still gonna have fingerprints on it. But the bottom should have been signed sterling somewhere here. Should have been signed sterling. Sometimes they're signed on the outside edge that they're sterling silver, okay? On this one, it wasn't signed at all that it was sterling silver, and there's a reason for that. Something had happened to this bowl that the bottom, maybe it was dented, maybe it was really damaged, but someone, a jeweler or a silversmith, very talented, but not to my antique eye. I can always tell when there's a restoration or repair. This whole bottom panel had been resoldered right here. There's a little lip and a little edge. It had been resoldered to the rest of the piece. So this whole bottom sheet, where it likely would have been hallmarked, has been reapplied to this bowl. So that was cut out, and then this flat sheet was soldered down to it to then basically repair and restore the bowl. The detail work on the outside, wow, there we go. Not going to try and blind you guys. The detail work on the outside is really beautiful because there's fully opened areas. And in one of my past videos, I said articulated, and I meant to say reticulated. So it's open work, and then there is repoussé flowers that completes the design. Long story short, $32, 10% off. In its weight alone, I think it's around $220. I'm going from memory here. $215 to $220 in silver, in sterling. I will acid test very carefully the outside edge just to make sure it's not plated. But by weight and by solder seam, 99.9% sure it's solid sterling silver. And again, really sizable and beautiful. It was likely signed by the maker as well. Would I consider it Blackington? Would I consider it Gorham? Could it possibly be William Kerr & Company? There's quite a few makers that I would loosely attribute that to. And that will change the value when I go to resell it. So, and that is resale. Now, I actually had picked on uranium glass, and I really didn't pick on it. But uranium glass, to me, there's nothing wrong with it. Everyone settle down that collects it. Please don't come for me. But it's just glass. Technically, it's just another glass, and its properties are quite magical, and I won't deny that. However, I've seen fads come and go in this business. I've seen things be promoted by sellers who, I mean, if you're selling something, you're going to try and promote it and get the most you can for it, right? I mean, that's what your job is. But let's be honest and say that there are some fads that come and go, and I have a strong feeling that this could be one of them. Long story short, I found this wonderful hunk of glass. And as soon as I saw it, I've been around enough uranium glass over the last 30 years of my life that I knew that this would light up with blacklight and be solid uranium glass. There's a ton of information on uranium online, but once you light it up and you see, this is probably one of the largest and most bright pieces of uranium that I've ever seen. And I'm trying to get you, there we go, trying to get you the color. I'll tell you what, this lights up like a beacon. I have not seen one light up this big in a long time. So hopefully I can use this picture for my thumbnail. I have to look excited, right? So anyways, uranium and fantastic, beautifully done, and such the kryptonite. Now, you might ask, why did I buy this? Well, I bought it because it was $8 or $10, and I believe it is cullet, C-U-L-L-E-T, cullet glass, that at the end of the day, the glass factories kind of just dumped the glass, and it came out into these kind of rock-like forms. And what I'd like to do is I'd like one of my lapidary friends to take a look at this and see if we can come up with a way to cut this into stones. Whether it be faceted or cabochon, I would like to see if I can cut this into stones and then possibly set it into jewelry. So there's that beautiful piece of uranium glass. And again, something that's fun and cool. But again, is there staying power with it? I'm not quite sure on that. And that's left up to our history to decide. On to this fellow. So I'm not one who really deals well with the emotion of getting gifts. And I was working for a client in Canton, Ohio, and I had seen this fine gentleman in the house. And because of my current state with the animals in my life, this face really struck a chord with me. And what can I say? I walked into the house and I said, I absolutely am going to buy this dog. And they kind of were reluctant, and I didn't know why, but I had made a joke when I was there that if they put a ribbon on it, I would have to accept it as a gift because they kept trying to give it to me the day that I was there. And I don't accept gifts when I'm in a buying situation or even a selling situation. I think it's unethical. But I had made the joke that if they put a red ribbon on it, that I would probably have to accept it as a gift. And the next time I went back to the house, I was getting ready to leave, and miraculously enough, I turned the corner and the dog had a red ribbon on it. So I kind of already knew what that meant. But again, I was not going to accept it as a gift. And lo and behold, They put it in the passenger seat of my car, and I drove home with this amazing, amazing statue. It is turn of the century, and it is constructed out of plaster. And again, was it a store display? Because of its size and its scale, more than likely either a store display or a sculpture for an extremely wealthy family's home at the turn of the century. This is probably right around 1900, maybe 1915, definitely before the 1920s, 1930s. The eyes are glass paperweight eyes inset into the dog's face, and the expression in that face. What a majestic and beautiful fellow that was someone's guardian and someone's best friend in their home for quite a long time. And then I'll turn him around because he's decorated, 360 degrees. The honesty in surface and the honesty in wear on this was, it's one of those things that made my heart happy. And I'm so honored and so thrilled that not only did I get a gift from someone that was extremely generous, but now I have a friendship with two strangers that I would have never had the opportunity to meet before. But now I have two very dear friends, and every time I look at this, I will always think of where it came from and the generosity and the kindness of human spirit when sometimes we don't encounter that very often. But these two people have really changed my life in such a positive way and quite unexpected. You don't think that when you go to work or go to purchase things or go to sell things that it's going to wind up giving you something more than just an item, something more than just money, something more than just the ability to sell and make money and make a living. It gives you the ability to have true friends that you know that you can trust. And this situation was one of those. So it does get me going a little bit. And how could it not? Look at that face. Every day that I look at this, I'm so happy. And when I have him on display near my front door, he is on a wooden box that has early painted green surface. So color play, but it makes sense how he's displayed in the home. I'm 30 minutes in and I still have 8 million things over here to talk about. I'll consolidate it down as fast as humanly possible because I really wanted this to be a 2-part video, and apparently it's going to be a 1-part video. And thank you so much for staying with me. I hope that you enjoy my show and tells. I really do. So this was bought at a thrift store, and I don't have a tendency to buy clothing very often, but this being from the 60s, 70s, the way it's constructed and the crepiness of the cotton fabric is definitely a vintage piece. Very much so 60s, 70s, completely hand embroidered. Of course, they're still producing these in places like Peru and Mexico, but really, really well done. And I really thought the colors and the way it was presented was fantastic. The net lace opening, the sleeves, just a really, really, really powerful and great piece that can be worn and appreciated today. So ladies fashion always had me. Men's fashion, not so much, a little boring and a little predictable and quite conservative over the years. I did collect for a while the 60s and 70s polyester shirts and also Hawaiian made pieces for men. And then a part of my collection that I only brought one out of are my flapper dresses. And this one's been so kindly and patiently hanging here that, when people see these, they always say, oh, you've got to be kidding me. And no, I'm not kidding you. This is an original from the 20s and 30s. It does need some restoration. I'm trying to get it in the frame completely without messing anything up here. But look at the beadwork. And look at the amount of time that it took to put this together. So we've got lotus blossom flowers, and look at the movement of the fabric. It is on silk, black silk, and completely hand beaded, the whole thing. And then you have this trailing, beautiful design on the front. Why wouldn't it continue onto the back? Look at the back, and look at the work in the back of this. Just absolutely extraordinary. And again, a tank style top. I don't ever hang these on hangers because the weight of the beads always has a tendency to pull the dresses apart. So please, if you have flapper dresses, please, please, please do not hang them on hangers like this. The only reason why I put it on a hanger that I will graciously take it off of right now is because I knew that I was going to have to display it for you, but now that it's off, I feel so much more relieved because what happens is the weight of these beads pulling on these two small areas on the top always, always, always ruins the shoulders and just literally pulls the dresses apart. As to the condition on this one, there are some bead losses, but what's interesting is the family had kept the beads. So I still have all the beads that need to be so carefully restored and sewn back on. And I do have two people in this area that can easily do that for me. So I do have two ladies that are extremely talented. They also repair some of my antique quilts. Let me scoot this out of the way and scoot this over so I can make some space here. So this has been sitting way out of frame for the whole entire time. But I went to an antique mall with Jeremy. We were on the outside of Marietta, and in the front window was this lamp. And within seconds, I said to him, "That's Moorcroft pottery." Moorcroft is, again, something very recognizable by color and form, and still maintaining its value for the most part. You know, are most antiques down? Yes. Are most mass-produced antiques down? Yes. However, there are exceptions to that, and Moorcroft is kind of holding its own. On the price tag right here, sorry it's going to be completely washed out by the ring light, it was $45, and it hadn't been there for very long. And again, by form, I thought, oh, that's definitely 30s, 40s by the form of this construction, maybe later 40s, you know, and there could be some disagreement on age on this. However, the Moorcroft portion, the pottery portion, was definitely slightly earlier than that. And this is Moorcroft pottery, M-O-O-R, and then Croft, C-R-O-F-T, Moorcroft pottery. And Moorcroft, very well known for this very stylized floral, also the blue, the green, and this beautiful fuchsia and purple. That is one of their go-to color combinations. I did find this lamp base after I bought it. I did find this lamp base, a very similar one, on eBay, and they're asking $1,000 for it. I don't consider this a $1,000 lamp, but I also didn't consider it a $45 lamp. I think I'm going to meet right in the middle somewhere and say I would probably retail it for $385, maybe $350, and maybe if I want to be a little more aggressive, like $425. But I think on its best day, to me personally, although an unusual thing to have a lamp, and originally a lamp, by the way, made to be a lamp, not a vessel that was drilled out and turned into a lamp. But I would say, still very sellable because boy, is that grace and color just beautiful. Now, onto the box of Tiny and Shiny. Again, I'll only show a couple, and then I'm going to put a cap on this video so that I can go and get some work done. I have a great big catalog and a great big sale coming both in February and March. So again, unfortunately, I'm sorry to say that my time is going to be very restricted, so just bear with me on my videos and my output. And again, your support means so much. Fans, antique fans have always kind of found a way into my collection and also in my ability to purchase. This one is turn of the century. Yes, it's completely broken. So the bottom portion where the stays are, or the, I totally fudged the term. And I'm not going to erase this video. The sticks or the stays that came out of the fan are missing. So this needs to be restored. And again, I'm going to work on that. So this is just one of the most beautiful hand appliqued silk and metallic thread embroidered fan. And look at the design and look at the sequins. It is just one of the most beautiful and incredible fans that I have ever seen. Again, it was so cheap because it was only partial, but the amount of work that went into this, 100% from France. 100%. And anyone else that would say something different, totally incorrect. Absolutely French. Then, anytime a fan has its original box, I'm a sucker for it. This one does have its original box, but does need quite a bit of restoration. So there's the box, an old tooled paper box, and then this fan. But look at the work in this one. Yes, there's some issue here. There's some issue in the center of it. And again, my light is going to completely block this out. I will have to take this to the light box. But the carved mother of pearl right here is just so beautifully done. And the mother of pearl also has, it looks like engraving, but there might be, I'll have to look at that closer. There's some detail work that I have to look and see if there's wire that was actually inset into the mother of pearl. But beautiful that it fits in its box. And then the one that really got me, if this box wasn't with this fan, we would have never realized that this fan was Tiffany & Company. So this box definitely goes to this fan because it's, obviously it fits right in. So it's not like someone married this fan to this box. Again, we have some damage. So the front cover is off. And that is, I'm putting on black so you can see it's mother of pearl and then inlaid little steel mirrors. Okay, finely inlaid steel mirrors. And then here's the rest of the fan. But one of the most remarkable jeweled and sequined fans, again, silk, and then mother of pearl, and all of the mother of pearl is inlaid with spangles and beautiful, beautiful, beautiful work, both on the mother of pearl, and then each little sequin is hand applied. So that is by Tiffany & Company. And not only produced by Tiffany & Company, but retailed through them as well. So this little cover will need to be reattached to this outside portion. And once I get that done, I have restored a fan that would probably be worth around $800 to retail consumer. And I paid $12 for it, or $15 for it. And it is signed up in the box. Again, I can't block out the light. You're not going to be able to see it. I'll take it over to the light box, but it is signed on the inside, Tiffany & Company, right on the inside of the box. So we've got a Tiffany & Company fan, really, really extraordinary. So again, ladies' fashion was always in my crosshairs, and rightfully so. When I do the flapper dresses, I haven't quite decided how I'm going to present them, but I probably have now upwards to probably 40 or 50 of them. And I have ones that, shall I say, are very, very important to the history of fashion. And I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to display them. I've done a short on 3 of them, but it didn't go well. I had them hanging, which again, I shouldn't have them hanging. So I'm trying to figure it out, how to do that video and get that done for you. So this, I didn't buy it for the hat pins, which is a big surprise because I'm a huge collector of antique hat pins. This one's wonderful, not taking anything away from it. It's a beautiful hat pin. This one is beautiful as well, with like a faux carved flower. These are very unusual. This one has like an art glass swirl, probably Czechoslovakian, beautifully faceted. Love that one. The lily with the red jewel on the inside of it. Very unusual form and very cool. None of the hat pins in this, they're all old. There's nothing wrong with them. None of them spoke to me to come into my collection. My hat pin collection numbers now in the 300 or 400. And I've only kept the most exceptional versions. And I'm not trying to be arrogant about it. I'm just trying to state a fact that anything that was average just didn't stay with me. This is what I bought it for. It's insane. So it's porcelain that's been painted pink or glazed pink. And then this silver colored overlay is actually silver deposit. So there is a different layer there that you can feel. And its only job was to be a hat pin holder. And I see a lot of, sugar sifters or casters or shakers that are converted to, quote, hat pin holders, and they have a hole in the bottom of the cork in them. So if you see something with a hole in the bottom of the cork, it's probably a shaker. Sometimes there are exceptions to that, and I'll get into that when I get into the hat pin collection. So, but great form, and so I bought it for this to hold my cherished hat pin collection. So all the hat pins will be sold, and then all the hat pins will pay for this. So this will eventually be free. So let me put that away, and then I'm going to get into a couple more things, and then I'm going to let you all go and go enjoy your night. A Victorian hairwork brooch, and again, I got a call from an area dealer, and I need my cloth to wipe this off. I am just going to use my shirt. So Industrious is my middle name. It's Victorian, it's hairwork, it's Prince of Wales plumes is the design, and that's what it's widely known as. I can agree with that on this one. So Prince of Wales plumes, and again, I can't get any closer. Sorry, it's so far away. This will go to the light box, and you'll see it close up eventually. But a very early pin stem on the back, and beautifully done hairwork, woven hairwork, Victorian, under glass. This one's probably right around 1850, 1855, maybe 1860. After 1860, I wouldn't agree. I would say no, it's definitely before. And then I will show you, there's just so many things in this box. This is just exceptional. It is a cigarette case, and let's see here. It is signed on the inside, and it's 800 silver. So on the outside, it's signed 800, and it's very, I guess you could say faint. The hallmark is very, very faint. It does need to be cleaned a little bit. So I would say that I'm not going to polish this, but I most certainly would clean this a little bit. But look at the repoussé and chasing on the surface. Really ornate and fantastic dimension. Just a beautiful, beautiful floral. Very much so in the mindset of Egyptian, Iranian, India, lotus flower, and the style of the flower, very much so those areas, but just an incredible sterling silver cigarette box. And because these aren't being used for cigarettes anymore, people have now been buying them to hold their business cards. Both in the cards that they hand out to people, and when you get a business card, even though business cards are getting harder and harder to find. But I give out a business card literally every day of my life, and it pays off immeasurably, by the way. So I think those who have forgotten about business cards are making a very big mistake. So I always hand out business cards everywhere I go. This bracelet, you know, it doesn't stop the world, but it's just unusual because as a sterling silver and crystal bracelet, wonderful cut crystal stones, and sterling silver, it's an Eisenberg original. And I had missed the hallmark. I saw the sterling hallmark on it, but Eisenberg, you know, did they do a fair amount of sterling silver? Yeah, they did. You know, late 30s, early 40s, basically 40s. Or someone could say late 30s. I'm not going to disagree with that. But the stones and the craft are fantastic, and an extremely wearable bracelet by today's standards. So really showy stones, very much so bright and clean stones. But again, because I bought it as sterling for around $45, the Eisenberg Script E, the early large Script E that just looks like curlicues, that was very faintly marked on the back of it that I found later. That changes the price to, you know, if it didn't have the Eisenberg mark, it would have been $80. You know, with the Eisenberg mark now, maybe $200 or $300. Years ago, $800. You know, but times have changed with designer costume, like much of anything else. This Art Deco necklace, it's going to be slightly tangled up. Let me straighten it out real quick because this is just so delicate in its presentation. And again, I've tried to steer away from costume lately, and especially glass jewelry, because I think, you know, it's beautiful. Don't get me wrong, it's beautiful, but it just doesn't have, my customer base doesn't really go after it now. They're more into silver and precious metals, or really high-end designer things. So, but this totally changed my mind when I saw it. Very beautifully done with the tassels. Definitely Czechoslovakian on a chain. So not on string, you know. When you start to see things put on chain, you definitely know that it's a step above, you know, things that are just on a cord. The jadeite color in the glass, very sellable by today's standards, and very elegant. That necklace is beautifully constructed and just really finely done. So that was a yes for me. That was a definite yes, because it was very inexpensive and I knew that I could sell it very quickly. And then a sterling silver plate. So another one that was not signed sterling on the price tag, but it was signed sterling, and let me find it for you. Again, I'll just take this over to the light box. There is a sterling hallmark. There it is. They're very, very faintly, and normally not signed right here on this edge. Normally signed on the outside decorative edge, or signed on the verso or on the back. So sometimes signed right on this outside ring, but this one only signed on this inside edge. And it's got the most beautiful frame of angels and open lattice work. So really beautiful thing on that. An enameled picture frame that is sterling and enamel. And then a sterling silver box from the late 1700s, early 1800s. And it does open, and it is gold wash on the inside. So really, really phenomenal hand engraved silver snuff box. And then I guess maybe the only other thing would be this. I have about another 8 million things to talk about, but a little tip tray, an Art Nouveau tip tray, would have been in a tavern at the time, or on a bar somewhere, so just after the Nouveau period. Beautiful lithography in the advertising there. Beautiful portrait of an Art Nouveau woman. And it says from your old friend, and then Con Jaeger. And I believe I looked up Con Jaeger, and it was store, I'm going to blank on what state because I'm getting tired. So I'll blame it on getting tired. But you can see she's really beautifully done and beautifully constructed. And I loved her. So she had to come home with me, and very moderately priced at one of my friend's stores. Now, I think I've covered enough. Thank you so much for sticking with me, and thank you so much for your constant support and your wonderful comments. I will tell you that I do my best to respond to every comment I get. Now, with that said, because of my restricted time for the next few weeks, probably about 2 to 3 weeks, I'm going to continue to do shorts and I'm going to continue to do videos when I can, okay? So don't think that I'm going away or that I'm not invested in this, because I am. I just wanted to say that when I'm not on, there's so many other channels to watch, and I made a very small list of some of the people that I personally go to and the channels that I find not only educational, but also channels that I like what they sell, and I enjoy their personalities. I enjoy how they present themselves and how they treat their people in the chat, and how they're welcoming. So I'll probably put on a community post some of the people that I frequently go to, just for the ones that I enjoy, not promoting anyone or not lining the pockets of some of my friends. These are all people that I genuinely don't know. I only know them through YouTube. So, but I'll give you that information. So when I'm not on, you'll have places that I frequently go, and you'll sometimes see me in those chats. You'll sometimes see me chatting it up with people and trying to lighten the mood and keep things positive. So again, thank you so much. Please, please, please make sure that you like the video, and also that you can send it out to anyone that you think that would enjoy it. And also please go to the other videos that I have, and also my short feeds, because I have such an affection for doing the shorts. I love the ability to share. I really do. I will say that it has done something for me internally that makes me extremely happy. And your support and your comments, they absolutely mean so much to me. You have no idea how, I check throughout the day. When I feel a little bit beat up or I feel a little bit down, I will check my videos to see what the comments are. And sure enough, every single time without fail, there's a comment there that somehow builds me up and keeps me going. So, thank you so much for helping fix me. I don't know how else to say it and keep it real. So thank you again for your time. I want to tell you again, I love all of you, but I most certainly want you to have an incredible new year. I most certainly wish you all the best health as well. So you're all important to me. Remember that. And as I have time to respond to the comments, I will. If I only have time to read them, I will just either put a thumbs up or a heart on them. So just know that once I put a thumbs up or a heart, know that I read your comment and I'm not ignoring anybody, okay? So thank you so much. I love each and every one of you, and let's have an incredible new year together. Mwah!